from what we know from the city mayor and the city council is they're taking Ukrainian citizens, they're sending them through what are called the filtration camps, and then they're being relocated to very distant parts of Russia where they're being forced to sign papers that they will stay in that area for 2 or 3 years, and they will work for free in those areas.
On to our next guest now, and we're going to stick with Ukraine for the next half an hour or so. Fighting is raging across the country. Russia is continuing to bombard a number of besieged cities. Casualties are mounting from the shelling and rocket attacks. And there are reports now that some basic items in some of the besieged cities are now starting to run out. Joining me now for a view on the ground is Sovsun, a Ukrainian MP based in the city of Kiev, currently in the west of the country, but originally from Kharkiv, Ukraine's second city, which has been holding out against incredible Russian bombardment. Ms. Sovsun, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Tell us, where exactly are you now, and is there any fighting or have there been any attacks close to you?
Given that my son is here, I would not want to disclose the exact location. I will just say that it is relatively safe here. But even here in this area, which is not a big city, but he is still hearing the sirens. And he has been telling me actually that, Mom, when you hear the sirens, this is what you need to do. And the very fact that my son knows what an air raid siren is and why he needs to hide is terrifying for me as a mother. And but that is even in the Western Ukraine, there are sirens. We had one just at 5:20 this morning. That meant that I had to wake him up to move him to another place so that he is safe in case of something's happened. But luckily it didn't happen here. But we have to be cautious.
You're going back to Kyiv reasonably soon, I think, as well as obviously an MP there. And you're originally from the city of Kharkiv, Ukraine's second city that has been undergoing appalling bombardment. May I ask, are you still in touch with people in the city, and have you heard how conditions are there?
Kharkiv is going on under, it's terrible. What is happening over there is very bad. Just this morning, we heard that 5 people were killed in yet another shelling attacks that were taking place during the night. One of them is a 9-year-old boy, which for me as a mother of a 9-year-old boy was particularly painful to read. But they continue to bombard Kharkiv, not so much from air, because apparently Ukrainian army shot down several planes over there. So the pilots of Russian army are now afraid to go to Kharkiv. But they keep on bombarding it from the ground and destroying the infrastructure. I am in touch with many people over there. They're all texting me in Russian, by the way, saying that they hate Putin, they want him out, and they want to know that they will stand, they will keep their there as long as it is possible, but they are under extreme pressure. Again, it's not as bad as in Mariupol, but Kharkiv is second biggest victim to Putin over here in Ukraine right now.
Well, Mariupol, of course, we've seen the appalling scenes in there, the bombing of the theatre at the end of last week where hundreds were taking refuge. And the latest news out of Mariupol, isn't it, from the city council just this morning, saying thousands have been captured and forcibly removed from Mariupol. Thousands of citizens, civilians, removed from Mariupol into Russia and then relocated into some further away parts of Russia. What is your understanding of what is going on there? How many people does that involve, and what on earth is this all about? Why is Russia doing this?
Because it is a totalitarian state. It is doing what other totalitarian states did in the history. I'm still surprised every time I hear that, but the very logic of Russia right now is the logic of the Soviet Union and the logic of the Nazi Germany. It is a completely totalitarian state, and it is acting as one. So from what we know from the city mayor and the city council is they're taking Ukrainian citizens, they're sending them through what are called the filtration camps, and then they're being relocated to very distant parts of Russia where they're being forced to sign papers that they will stay in that area for 2 or 3 years, and they will work for free in those areas. This is exactly what the Soviet Union.
I beg your pardon. These are the people who have been removed from Mariupol just in the last few days or few weeks. They're being told they need to go somewhere and work for free, effectively labor camps.
Exactly. Yeah. It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
How do you know this?
We know that from the city mayor, and then the information was also confirmed by the city council. So that is as good as it gets in terms of information we're getting from Mariupol.
Oh, that's
And then
effectively
again,
slave labour.
it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, let me ask you a little bit about the peace talks, those peace negotiations that are going on. Now, there's obviously a lot of cynicism, perhaps, of how serious Russia is about that. Now, one condition we know Russia has is for Ukraine to declare its neutrality. Now, President Zelensky made it clear this week that he doesn't see Ukraine joining NATO anytime soon, and Ukraine has to accept that. But you tweeted something very interesting this week, I thought, and you made the point that it's all well and good, Ukraine suggesting it could be neutral and that might solve this war. But that's precisely the situation you're in 2014. You were a neutral country when Russia first invaded way back then.
Yeah, exactly. That is why hearing that we have to be neutral, not to be allied with any other countries, and that will keep us safe is just nonsense. It would have been very stupid on our side to believe that, because we were officially neutral. That was part of our constitution in 2014 when Putin annexed Crimea and started the war in Donbass, which in 8 years took 14,000 lives of Ukrainians. So being neutral is not a solution for us. We need guarantees of our security, and guarantees that will be tougher than the one we had under the Budapest Memorandum, where the UK and the United States promised us guarantees of our security in exchange for us giving up our nuclear weapon. We need tougher guarantees. I still believe that NATO is the best guarantee of our security, but NATO itself right now doesn't seem willing to accept Ukraine, which is a pity for myself. And I do believe that really we should reconsider this, but we need tough guarantees of our security. We are still living near this crazy neighbor who will never give up the idea of going into war with us again. If we go for a weak agreement, we shall end up with a war in 2, 3, 5, 10 years again.
Enough Sovsun, thank you so much for talking to us on Times Radio this morning. That's Enough Sovsun, who's the deputy head of the Holos Party, which is a centrist opposition party, and a former education minister in the Ukrainian government.
That's good.